This portion of the news brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
Welcome back. Today marks the second year the Bahamas is celebrating majority rule. It was back on January 10, 1967, when Bahamians witnessed a hard-fought and competitive election, with both the Progressive Liberal and the United Bahamian parties winning 18 seats. The PLP, however, would gain 2 additional seats, obtaining majority rule in Parliament. That victory helped to usher in many opportunities for Bahamians, not only from a political but economic and social standpoint. Our Fern Carey sat down with 74-year-old Altamise Isaacs, who was just a teenager when majority rule became a reality.
Like other youngsters at that time, Isaac said her yearning for a better way of life started years earlier when, as a primary school student, she realized her education would come to a screeching halt.
When a woman became 14 years of age in school, she was taken out of school and they taught her how to cook and wash and whatnot. You could only aspire to be like a kitchen mechanic in somebody's house in Cable Beach, or wash, iron, cook. That was your life.
The treatment her grandfather received at the hands of his employers also solidified Isaac's desire for change.
My grandfather was, used to call him an obedient servant. Whatever he was told to do, even though he was much older than some of the persons he worked with, he did. He would never even look back. That bothered me, because I used to always say to him, I call him Daddy, because my father died when I was very young. I would always say, Daddy, why would you let them talk to you like that? You have to stand up. And I would say, that will never happen to me in this life. I'm going to change that. So I had a personal objective, because I was not going to let anybody ride me the way they rode him.
And she did in her own way. She later became a trade unionist, fighting for the rights of workers in her trademark outspoken and decisive way. At 16, Isaacs recalled working at the then Batelco as one of only 5 black employees there.
We never used the front door. We had to walk through the back door. This is a government department, but this is the sort of thing that was practiced, okay?
However, majority rule helped to change that, paving the way for secondary education to be made available to all. Isaacs later dropped out of school, but that did not stop her desire to obtain a college education. She received a bachelor's degree at age 57.
I stood up and I squeezed that and shook my hand. Everybody was wondering what happened to her. She wouldn't move. And I just shook that because, I was saying, thank you, Jesus, I made it. I made it.
For Isaacs, that occasion was matched only by the advent of majority rule.
I was like I was in a plane, but I was still walking. I was walking on air. And I mean, shouting and screaming for hours. I know I'll never feel like that ever in my life again, but that was a feeling. In here I was saying, I have my country. It's my country now. We in charge.
Fern Carey, ZNS Network News.
Well, thanks a lot, Fern. Well, on this anniversary of majority rule, our news team took to the streets to find out if residents know the significance of it and their vision on the historic day.
In 1967, right, the UBP and the Progressive Liberal Party, they had an election and they was tied. And Sir Randolph Fox joined the PLP, and the PLP take the leadership.
They just say majority rule to make a fool out of the majority. Tell them they're ruling and they ain't ruling, we ain't ruling.
I'm going to sit right here and see if I can sell some conks, because I'm not celebrating the majority rule day.
This is supposed to be a majority rule day, but where's the celebration? Where's the jubilance in our society right now? If we can put some holiday in place, there got to be some significance and celebration to add to it so our children would know what it's all about and feel somewhat patriotic about this day.
Oh, it's supposed to have been a holiday about 20 years ago, but I'm happy and I'm proud to know we have that day called Majority Rule Day, which is a public holiday in the Bahamas.
To commemorate the country's 40th anniversary of majority rule, members of the Bain and Grantstown Advancement Association held a worship service yesterday afternoon at St. Paul's Baptist Church on Burnett Road. President of the Bain and Grantstown Association, Reverend Dr. C.B. Moss, says this event is just one way to educate future generations about the significance of this historical day in Bahamian politics.
Majority Rule Day, in my opinion, is perhaps one of the most important events in the history of the Bahamas. We appreciate that it has not been fully embraced by everyone, particularly our young people, because I think we, the older generation, has failed to communicate the importance and the facts about it.
Haitian nationals gathered in a special mass today in Port-au-Prince to pay tribute to the victims of the devastating earthquake 5 years ago. The 7.0 magnitude quake struck on January 12, killing hundreds of thousands and displacing more than 1 million. The earthquake caused major damage in Port-au-Prince and neighboring communities where landmark buildings were destroyed. Following the natural disaster, 50 countries pledged billions in financial aid, and according to reports, Haiti has received more than 80% of those funds. As the rebuilding efforts continue, parts of the capital received a facelift, with the construction of buildings and the number of people living in makeshift tents have decreased. However, according to Amnesty International, tens of thousands of people still remain homeless as a result of the destructive quake.
This portion of the news was brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.